Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So here I am in my garage, staring at my Lamborghini. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't know, that's an old joke with not a joke, advertisement with Ty Lopez. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Ty Lopez um, in my garage on YouTube. But here I am staring at my last rental check from a tenant on May 31st, 2024, over 14 grand. And one of the reasons I loved actually being a landlord is just because when I got that first check of 14 grand, the same day I got a text message. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And I was like, whoa, like, like, where'd this come from, right? And so the reason I'm talking about that is because I know for a fact that most landlords don't have the same experience as me, right? In fact, I have two friends. I have two friends who became landlords. One inherited property, thought real estate was going to be so easy, and then started hating it after a couple of months. And then number two, like my second friend, decided to buy rental property. Um, and then she's told me like, "Hey, ma'am, these tenants are they're on another level or something like that." And my tenant is nothing like that. In fact, I sometimes like this seems so passive, like, oh, every 6 months I get a 14 grand rental check. Like I can't sometimes I have to actually remind myself, oh yeah, I do own rental property, right? I do own it, right? And so why is it that I have a different experience from my two friends is and I'll tell you why. I didn't ever think it was going to be easy. Like I didn't, right? And that's why I decided to actually take real estate investing classes. So I know I talk about like Renatus. There's different levels, and I honestly think that everybody should take the essentials, which is like the base level courses. Now, when I first took them in 2017, the essentials were a lifetime. They were a lifetime. You make that purchase now; it's only 12 months. So they kind of changed up um, the um, the access, how much you get it. But my point is this, right? I told those two friends, hey, look, take these classes with me. I think you'll learn so much. And these classes also include velocity banking as well. And pretty much all of them were like, well, why would I need to do that? Right. And then, not even a year later, no, it was weird. Like one of my friends, like after 3 months of purchasing a rental property, she was like, oh, I'm so annoyed with my tenants. And I was like, you have the complete exact opposite experience of me. Right. And so um, I made sure because, I thought this was going to be hard that I learned as much as possible before I got into the game, right? Whether it's like understanding, hey, most tenants, I'm sorry, not most tenants, most landlords don't actually cash flow, right? That little cash flow that they think they have is actually going to be wiped out by, a new HVAC system or possibly a new roof. And then, if you ever looked at Bigger Pockets, the biggest real estate investing website, they actually say good cash flow and they put the good in quotes, it's only $200 a month. $200 a month, right? And so that's why even if you do get financing on it, like you didn't put that much of your own money in, you have technically a high cash on cash return. You got to focus on paying off that debt because if you don't focus on paying off that debt, the bank is essentially going to make more money than you on that one rental house, and that's not what you want to happen, right? You want to get your income, the tenant's income. If you could pay it off in 2 to 4 years, and again, two isn't typical, but my projections, I'm going to pay off this rental property in 2 years. Um, why do I need like 20 rental houses, right? But the problem is that a lot of landlords they don't understand the realities of the business and they don't want to be educated because social media or just media in general, commercials is telling you, oh my goodness, just borrow all the money that you want, and then you're going to cash flow. I mean, that's kind of like the message in Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I think is not, that's why I don't really like recommend certain parts of that book, even though there's good messages in that book. In fact, in Robert Kiyosaki's books, I know he's like a ton of them, and that's probably where he makes most of his money. But I actually like his first book the best, which is about like don't go to school if you want to be rich, right? I'm not really a big fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad compared to Don't Go to School If You Want to Be Rich. My favorite Robert Kiyosaki book. But anyway, yes, most landlords' experiences are not like this, and that's why And it's kind of well known within like the wholesaling real estate industry to target landlords because most of them don't know what they're doing. It's like saying, hey, just because you have a car, it doesn't mean you know how to drive it. Same thing with being a landlord. Just because you have a rental house, if you don't know things like finances, um, maintenance, knowing how to kind of track your budget and accounting. I mean, these are really easy skills to do, but again, most people don't do them, right? If you don't know how to do these things, you're probably going to struggle, and it all kind of adds up. And here's the thing about being an adult as well, and as I talk about this in other videos, as an adult, there's no congratulations for success. There's only punishment for failure, right? 99% of the time. I shouldn't say only, but I'll say 99% of the time. And so what happens is that if you don't do a certain something, there's no immediate punishment until maybe like a year or two later. So think about like a leak in a roof, right? Like if you have a leak in your roof and you don't fix it right away, and you think, oh well, I just want to save a couple $100, then you might have like issues, health issues, environmental issues, and just because you wanted to save a couple $100, now you have a property. Eventually, it turned uninhabitable for the tenant, and the tenant might sue you, right? Penny wise, pound foolish. But so many people are like that, and this is why have a ton of credit because if I do ever get to that point where, hey, you know, I need a new roof or HVAC system or whatever because when I bought it, I didn't negotiate well enough to take that into account, then that's my fault if I didn't do that. But also, if I have the business credit and I actually spend an extra 10, 12 grand on whatever, I can immediately, I have a plan for that, and the credit helps me maintain my cash flow. But most landlords just don't think of that either. It's just more like, oh, buy a rental property. Oh, get a tenant in there. It's going to be so easy. And it's like, why am I so tired? Again, the real estate wholesaling industry, one of their targets is tired landlords, right? I mean, just do a Google search on tired landlord, and they have a ton of information like how to get listings with tired landlords, how to find tired landlords, what's a tired undercover or uncover off-market properties with tired landlords, right? So this is kind of like a common experience with a lot of landlords who are, especially what you call the ma and pa, but let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT, what is a tired landlord and why would they be a good source of real estate opportunities? Okay. Yeah, so ChatGPT knows too. In fact, one of the real estate teachers in Renatus, he has actually over 300 properties on a school teacher salary, and he says his best deals came from other landlords. So, again, if you want to get into real estate investing and thinking, well, why do I need to purchase classes or do anything? I'm like, okay, well, yeah, just kind of get into it without knowing what you're doing. And again, it doesn't mean you can't succeed, right? There's a ton of people who succeed and kind of learn. But here's the thing. I like to learn from other people's mistakes. So if I have one rental property at a time that I can just pay off and I got good tenants, I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. In fact, before we end the call today, let's go ahead and play this, read it out loud with our AI voice.
A tired landlord refers to a property owner who is exhausted or frustrated with the responsibilities of managing rental properties. This exhaustion could stem from various factors, such as dealing with difficult tenants, constant maintenance issues, or the general burden of property management. Over time, these challenges can make landlords feel overwhelmed, leading them to consider selling their properties. Why they're a good source of real estate opportunities. 1. Motivated sellers. Tired landlords are often more motivated to sell their properties quickly to relieve themselves of the burdens. This motivation can lead to better negotiation opportunities for buyers, potentially resulting in below market deals. 2. Opportunity for value add. These properties may be undermanaged or in need of repairs due to the landlord's fatigue. As a buyer, you can acquire the property, make necessary improvements, and increase its value and cash flow. 3. Less competition. These properties might not be as actively marketed, as the landlords may not go through traditional channels like listing with a real estate agent. This could mean less competition from other investors. 4. Creative financing. Tired landlords might be more open to creative financing solutions like seller financing, lease options, or subject to deals, providing more flexible acquisition options. For a real estate investor, especially one focused on value add opportunities or acquiring properties with favorable terms, tired landlords represent a valuable segment to target.
Right. And here's the thing, if most people were successful in real estate, this demographic would not be worth targeting, right? Very important to understand. And again, um, most times, like my friend, she became a landlord because she inherited it, the property, and then like she rented out to friends, and then she tried to sell it to me, and I tried to explain to her that I can't buy it at the price she's asking for. And for some reason, trying to say, well, this is the greatest opportunity ever. And again, because she has that mindset, she doesn't understand like what the gaps of her knowledge is. Because so many people they get into real estate with that attitude, like this is the greatest thing ever, and then they don't understand why they're struggling. Right? Even as they're struggling, they're like, "This is a great opportunity for you." Like, well, if it's such a great opportunity, why are you always complaining about the tenants? You know, for me, like, I don't complain about my tenant. I love my tenant. Love getting these checks here in my garage with my Lamborghini. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, um, but this is why I say like most people for some reason are like balking or offended that they should probably take classes before being a landlord, right? And they always want to quote learn how to drive the car after they crashed it, right? And if you're a landlord, your tenant expects you to be more educated and have more authority than they do. And so they're going to have more expectations of you. And if you just go into this thinking, I'm just going to learn after I get the property, that's actually a very big mistake in real estate investing because you could lose a lot more than the money that you put in. Right? I don't know if you knew that like with the stock, I don't think you could lose more money than you put in. I might be wrong about this because I don't invest in stocks, but real estate is a totally different animal, right? It's a totally different animal. So, all right, well, that's it for today. Just kind of here's the thing. Like, don't believe the hype. Just understand that with real estate, with anything in life, you gotta practice your chops, and that's why I always taking classes from time to time to even things that I know that I already know, right? Like why not take 15 years worth of knowledge of one person, take a class into, and just kind of think, huh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. In fact, different instructors have different viewpoints. So, for example, one instructor, his name's Jeff Armstrong, he had 27 rental properties in his 20s or something like that. And he decided, I am sick and tired of being a landlord, again, tired landlord. And then he became like the number one, two, three, four, like one of the top note brokers in the country because he wanted a very passive experience and never dealing with tenants anymore. Whereas another instructor has over 300 rentals. So I learn from anybody and everybody, and not one person is going to have the right answer, which is why I really like um, taking classes from Renatus. And also, if you didn't know, this is just a subliminal message so that once I feed you the word Renatus several times throughout other videos, you're going to become familiar with it. Kind of like how credit card companies advertise in what's it called? Um, sporting events like brought to you by Visa, and then like, you feel comfortable applying for that Visa credit card, but for some reason you don't feel comfortable applying for a personal line of credit. But that's just how advertising works, right? You just kind of like just say it, right? And again, Renatus doesn't sponsor me, but I do get paid commission if I do sell it. So just so that you're aware, full disclosure. But yeah, that's kind of like the purpose of these videos, where it just like kind of subliminally brainwash you so that you ask me in the comments like, how do I buy Renatus in it? And I'll be like, here, let me show you. Just as long as I can stop being lazy and open up the Google form. But that's it for today, everybody. So just be aware that most people, in my opinion, shouldn't be landlords, because if they were, then they wouldn't be a good source of real estate opportunities, because real estate opportunities in general come from distress, right? So most they don't come from the vast majority of the real estate seller market, or the market for sellers, right? Like it's a very small percentage of them that are distressed, but that's the what we target in order for us to make money. All right. Well, this is Korean Land to Mentorship. Have a great day and speak next time.